Hi everyone, this is Roy from FRESCO. FRESCO is the world's first blockchain art asset network. So blockchain technology. Oh shit. Alright, let's switch up the tone a bit, because that might be too formal. And I think that's not a good way to communicate on a topic like art. We should be very inclusive for everyone. And that's why we decided to switch up the tone, because we viewed the white paper, and even sometimes when I see myself, I was like, who the hell is that guy? Can he talk anything about art? But I want to switch up the tone and I want to directly communicate with you guys. And so, for FRESCO, and you guys have seen right now, we have grown from an idea, and right now almost to a movement, for which we abandoned ICU model and does the ICD, and not asking anything monetary in return, but asking people to fill a 100 question test about the art world. So through the process, we're educating more than 100,000 people on art, hopefully within a month. I mean, this is huge. Like, even Momo or Matt, you cannot educate that many people about Warhol in a month at that scale. And if you go to our Telegram group, you see people literally were coming in and sharing ideas about how and why those painters are so expensive, and they're very passionate about what the art can be, and they say, wow, FRESCO can truly create something meaningful, can create something very, very epic in the art world. I'll just leave it there. And I thought a lot about how to communicate with you guys, but I think right now there's another major conference coming very fast. That is April, I think, 25th to 26th, the Art Leader Network, which is in Berlin, Germany, where it's a summit for the art innovators and experts that New York Times bring together. Well, I don't necessarily have time to go to Berlin because we're very focused on securing partnerships with the art shows for the upcoming Art Basel. But I can share some of my thoughts with you guys through the conference agenda, and hope you like it. Because I think the conference organized by New York Times did an amazing job, not only bring together the decision makers in art industry, but also the agenda they set out is very point out for us to explain FRESCO. So we'll go through agenda by agenda and just give you an idea of how we help out. Because by so far, I understand you guys might already have a knowledge about FRESCO and what FRESCO can do, but to give you another overview, FRESCO is a blockchain asset network, and we hope to help out with three things: provenance, promotion, and liquidation of artwork. So for provenance, well, if you're in the art world, you know how hard it is. Even today, you try to buy at auction houses, the provenance is very, very opaque. It's very murky. Because what provenance means to the non-art people, I'll explain to you, is that it's a collection record. It's who owns the painting before. It's almost like if I sell this book to you, you want to keep this record that I own the book before you sell to another guy. And this is the provenance. And still today, I mean, it's 2018, and to take a look at how the artwork provenance is being organized, it's still through he says, she says. It's really, about how, who owns a painting before you don't have a clear record to show. And we can do that with blockchain. And as you know, blockchain, you can create an irrevocable record, which ties into the next part that we're going to talk about, the promotional artwork. Right now, the art world, especially towards the fine art world, is very exclusive. Like, the major galleries only each year can promote so many artists. And each year, you have so many young talents graduating from the top art school. Well, not all of them are going to get signed by gallery, which going to promote their work, get their work to a museum for show and for exhibition, which again creates a higher price in auction house. So a lot of artists have to do odd jobs or cannot pursue their dream. I mean, I personally have a lot of friends who are artists and who, to be honest, deliver astonishing work compared with a lot of other, what you call the mainstream established artists. But they simply, because they don't have that promotional channel for them to promote their work, and then the artwork price not being so high, even the large like 50 times 50 inches painting was getting sold for $1,000, which is very cheap. Compared with that frame goes up for 20-30 million if it's a major artist work. I mean, this is kind of like price discrepancy. Like we want to help solve. Like we want to really to allow more artists to have a say, like to be able to promote their work. So that's why I think promotion can be a huge thing for us to focus on, and that's why we create FRESCO, and especially through tokenization. So the way how FRESCO tokenization gonna work is that if you have a painting, for example, if you have this as a painting, and then for us, the FRESCO token you have gonna be able to, you can allocate those tokens to the painting, and that's an irrevocable process. That'll become a part of the painting. You carry on with that painting on blockchain forever. And that process is irrevocable because that has been done in the art world for a while. Like you take a look at the Western way where people add gemstone and diamonds to the Bible cover, or even and the Chinese way where people add the commentaries after each painting called colophon. So this is always a way for people to show their appreciation for art, and which may in turn increase art's market value. I'll just leave it like that. So what we create is, that's called Fresh Trust. And Fresh Trust is served as this additional layer that added onto the artwork to indirectly reflects the owner's own inclination towards the work. And to even further help with the promotional work, because as you know, the token added to the artwork become irrevocable and become fixated in the art. And even the token supply keep diminishing. But how can we have enough token in the circulation? Well, that's why we were very fortunate to meet Dr. Han Feng from Elastos, who's a pioneer in the cryptocurrency world and blockchain world for inventing Elastos, which along with Dr. Chen Rong, Elastos has the ability for people to turn data into wealth. So essentially it helps people to, you can help you secure your the digital data as your asset on blockchain, and then you can sell that data in limited edition. I mean, this is huge, guys, and this is how I think the art world is being reinvented, like during the last century, where artists suddenly realized that rather than just painting like 10 oil paintings, right now they can do 30 editions for one painting, for one oil painting, and maybe they sell that one oil painting for 20,000. Well, they sell each edition for only a fraction of that price, just divide up by the edition number. That's usually in the form of lithograph, your silk print, or for sculpture, if you buy some Jeff Koons balloon dog, he has the balloon dogs in either unique 50 edition or 500 edition, and same thing for calls. And the price just change up very dramatically, but it always follows the track that if it's a unique work, it worth more. And it's a 500 edition, each edition price reflects a unique work if it's in the similar design category. And we take that inspiration very hard, and we really view that as a game changer. And we always want to tackle that part until we meet Elastos. Like Elastos provides us that solution where we can allow to issue the digital, it's called sort of like the digital edition of an artwork on blockchain. And that's completely doable, and people can trade that. And so that leads us to the next part about first edition. Guys, first edition, just like I explained, it's a carry-on of the old art system where it can help artists to generate more revenue through releasing a limited edition work of a unique artwork. And for us, each artwork on the FRESCO platform is essentially a data, the artwork's blockchain data. Even though you add token to it or you trade it, essentially what we're doing that once you trade the physical artwork, that blockchain data, hopefully you transfer that data with you as well, because that's how it functions. And it's just almost like you asking, sometimes when you buy right now when you buy a work, you always ask for a certificate, which is on paper. That's very ineffective. So with blockchain, that record is publicly visible, anonymous, irrevocable. So once that what we do with first edition, that really you help people create the edition version of that blockchain data. so that you can, like for example, there's one artwork on blockchain on FRESCO that has 3,000 fresh trusts. Well, we give you, let it be an artist or a collector or anyone or art organization, just as long as who uploaded this artwork, like as long as this artwork is like a unique one on the platform, like who owns that artwork's data as a first owner, he has the right to release an edition. I mean, through that way, imagine right now I have a work with 3,000 fresh trusts, and then I release 10 edition of that. So each edition will worth 300. So as you know, fresh trust, you cannot take that out of the artwork because it's a part of the artwork. But with the fresh edition, it's almost like each artist is doing their own version of the fundraising on blockchain. So, but in a form of token, a form of utility token. So people, this way, an artist release 30 edition of this 3,000 fresh trust worth of fresh edition of artwork, and then each edition would just be worth 3,000 divided by 30, and that's 100 per edition. And once you hold on to this edition, it ain't gonna just sit there and wait for another auction house to come up with a higher record next year, but rather people are actually adding tokens to original artwork, to that 3,000 fresh trust value artwork, and increase the value of that fresh trust to in turn increase the value of their fresh edition. So for example, if that artwork's fresh trust value increase from 3,000 to 5,000, so each edition gonna be worth 5,000 divided by 30, which is definitely more than 100. So this way, and each edition essentially is a blockchain data, and blockchain data certificate corresponding to a token amount, and that can be liquidated. The trading of the blockchain data of that first edition is almost like a trading of I think a certificate among people, so that you view that certificate has some unique value, and you trade that certificate, and you can sell this certificate for FRESCO utility token on platform. And the next thing we're gonna talk about is really, I think it's better to follow your agenda, because I don't think I talk quite well without agenda. Even you go to panel, you need a moderator, but without moderator, go anywhere, just like the way how I talked before. So for the conference in Berlin, which is called the Art Leaders Network, the first question at 9:10 a.m. is about art in a populist age. Well, populist, that's a big word. It's institutions aim to become more accessible. The artwork continues to be viewed as elitist. One museum intimidating and galleries unwelcoming. How to strike the right balance between building new audiences and serving a core constituency. What strategies are working? Well, if you guys been reading FRESCO's website, I suggest you guys just ping up those guys who are on panel talk and show them what we're gonna do to create a better solution. So far, the museum model in today's age is really about just simply between a visitor and the organizer. Each museum is like this. For us, if you go to a museum, what you can do is just take photos and grab home a couple souvenirs. That's, you print the artwork on pencil case and mass produce it and call that, you bring home something. Well, that does not create an appreciation of art for people. Just simply to take photos, you quickly forget about it. Or sometimes there might be some, very, very overwhelming experience if you're seeing a fabulous show. But other than that, everything left is your memory. That thing cannot leave a profound impact that you can share with others. Memories are intangible. We want something that's tangible that can be shared. I think that's our word I think we should focus on. It's really, you guys said we don't now want to be elitist. Well, you take today, look at today's art museum system. It's still quite elitist. Is that really, you donate money, you donate 20 grand, you donate 1 million to the museum. Museum give you preferential treatment. You have dinner with the director. You gotta go to all kind of private openings. You gotta go to the artist studios. You get all the perks, all the good stuff in the artwork. Well, what happened to the visitors? We just need to line up and then go in and take a photo of the painting, and you call that we have access to art? Well, I don't think so. I think there should be a better solution we can bring. That's why if you go to fresco.org/museum, you see this solution we're bringing with FRESCO. That's really, we propose each museum having a different kind of tag. A tag that has FRESCO QR code on it, of that specific artwork, which we hope each museum, since you guys already digitalize your painting online, literally every painting is made on public domain right now, before 1900, because there's a law for that. And then, even every museum that is digitalized it, there's not a good way for engaging. Well, we propose them, you guys can upload your painting to FRESCO platform. Literally uploading them, just like as you could upload a painting to WordPress. It's almost like you just upload the painting's HD photo and then a video about the painting on the blockchain. And just input all the information. And from there, we generate a QR code for your artwork, as well as a detailed display of that artwork. And we hope each museum, organization, or gallery can print out tag, similar to the tag you guys have right now, but with a QR code on it, that when you scan it, it leads to a FRESCO platform showing this artwork's provenance. It's people who have added fresh trust to it, as well as a fresh edition history, as well as, even better, if that painting is the one has not released fresh edition yet, can help people buy fresh edition straight out of that painting. Or even if that painting released fresh edition already, how people, if you want to buy it, they can buy from a potential seller who owns the edition before them. Guys, imagine how's that going to change the museum into. That's going to create a ton of foot traffic for museum, because we're literally changing the model between a visitor to a organizer into like a engager, like a participant and a host, where people, I go to a museum like Met, I do not just view this Rembrandt as something that's just, you guys are not gonna sell it, or I can just take photo of it, sometimes not allowed to take photo of it. But with FRESCO, I can just scan the photo, the painting tag next to the Rembrandt, scan the QR code, and get to know this Rembrandt on blockchain. And even better, if there's an edition available, I can even get a fresh edition of that Rembrandt on blockchain, offered by the museum, or mostly by the museum, because the museum owns like we said, the unique artworks blockchain data. So think about, in that scope, there's so many artworks in the museum, in a mega museum, or even a smaller museum, that they propose they do not want to sell it. But if you guys want to let more people engage with it, I think this will be a way. We're creating a new kind of like a engagement funnel, because literally that's how lithograph come into being. That's how silk screen print come into being. It's that people try to challenge the boundary of art. That's why you have the digital art coming up. So we're changing the digital art even further to the blockchain data art. So when people own a blockchain data certificate, if a museum or gallery is saying, yes, this is the certificate from us on blockchain, this you can get a lot of people investing in art, just paying a fraction of the money. So imagine a work from MET, Metropolitan Museum of Art. It has a Rembrandt, and it recently uploaded to FRESCO. And this Rembrandt is for a new upcoming show. So Matt just go on FRESCO platform and acquires 3,000 FRESCO token added to this painting. And Matt just said, okay, Matt released on his Twitter or Facebook saying, guys, we're releasing the fresh edition of this Rembrandt for 100 edition, each at 30 fresh token each. And then they say we're only releasing it at 9 a.m. EST, like Eastern time and specific day. So people can either buy the edition online, or people can go view the painting at the museum. And you think about, and even after you were fortunate enough, just like if you buy Supreme, you're able to acquire an edition. Right now only at 30 fresh, which is, I don't know, we do not talk about the market price, but we just say it's 30 fresh. So you right now have the painting, this fresh edition is 30 fresh. And then imagine more and more people adding fresh trust to that original Rembrandt, to the Met, because Met has a tag there. People like that Rembrandt, they'll just, even people in the museum or anywhere in the world, they can add fresh trust to that Rembrandt. And think about the value of the total fresh trust value going to increase from there. From 3,000 maybe one day to 300,000 to 3 million. And 3 million divided by, 3 million divided by 100. and that will be the worth of each fresh edition. So the first edition is not static. The value of it is just gonna keep increasing because the total pool, the fresh trust value is gonna only increase. And that's how we design the system. It's an irrevocable addition to the value of our work. That's what we call fresh trust. And each fresh edition is the fresh trust, the total amount of fresh trust divided by number of first edition. And this is gonna be very, very huge. Like for museums that are not getting enough foot traffic, for art non-profit foundations who has collections in their in their foundation and in the office, they even do their own published show for free. But they, as you know, as a non-profit, they do not only sell their painting. So through this way, you can allow people to go to their foundation to engage with their purpose, with their mission, while creating a better, just making people more engaged with art and even further your cause. I think that'll be very key, because to take a non-elitist approach, you're really gonna think about how can we, it ain't gonna work if you just still keep playing with the current population. Because think about how many people in the world that holds the art painting, holds the artwork, let it be painting or sculpture, it's any form. That number is less than 3 million people globally. Because transaction of artwork, physical artwork, it takes too much effort and taxes everything. With this, with first edition, museum were able to create blockchain, a new kind of like blockchain data asset online, a first edition, a blockchain certificate of work. And that can be transferred, traded, created, and bought by anyone on the network, the entire world. So Matt has this release of new Rembrandt. A guy from Ukraine or a guy from China can just buy it with one click. And then I stay up. It's just almost like when you buy Stream. It's a global sale. And anyone can be a part of the owner of that limited edition work. And that, I think, gonna lower the barrier of entry to art. Because guys, if you want to solve the elitism in art, it's always about lowering the barrier of entry. Don't say you guys don't want to do it. I'm talking about the art people who's decision maker. Don't think you guys don't want to do it. If you don't do it, well, Christie Sotheby's shouldn't sell Picasso ceramics for $2,000 or £1,000 each, trying to attract people to buy it. If you don't do it, don't sell those Warhol screen prints for $3,000 each. Where today I go to club, I open a table that's 3 times the price than that. So you guys already want to lower the price, but if you keep playing the current population, it ain't gonna work. Why don't you play with the global population? Why don't we let more people to come in, engage with art in a more meaningful way? That is join the art market. And we're doing this very, very radically and doing this very, very, keep everybody's interest in mind. Because for our token, initially we planned an ICO and we're going through the registration process with FEMA. But we realized that if we do an ICO with today's murky market, retail investors' interest will not be protected. Because me personally, I'm actually involved. I bought a lot of ICOs, and I know how the price dropped a lot at today's market. All the money I should have used on stock, on buying artwork, I get them into ICO, and it does not pan out very well, at least for now. For me, it's fine. Like I can handle that amount of financial risk. But for retail investors, that's too much at risk. Think about it for 30-year-old Ukraine, single mother, raised her family all by herself. I do not feel comfortable to ask them to invest in a token. At least that's not how my way to do things. I do not want to simply ruin people's life, because I see a lot of ICOs tear family apart. That's not what we want. So we abandoned the whole ICO model. We gave away 300 million tokens for free. The complete ICO model, it's not a simple airdrop anymore. It's a whole ICO amount of money we're gonna raise. We do not need that money anymore. We change the approach. We release this 300 million token for free to the community. But we're following a POW. That is a proof of work. That each people who want to claim our token need to fill a 100 question test about our world, mostly about our world, and about FRESCO and the change that we're gonna bring. Guys, this is what you call the proof of work. It's literally we're doing this for a limited supply token. It's almost like Bitcoin mining, where the 100 question is a mining process, And after you finish the mining, if you win, and you get 2,000 FRESCO token. And through this process, we can build up a community of more than 100,000 actively token holders, as well as people who know about art from our 100 question. If you go to our Telegram group, you see thank you messages from around the world just saying, thank you guys. You guys let us know so much about how the art market functions, and they want to actually participate in the art market, and they want to support FRESCO. I think that's kind of organic growth we're trying to build. Like, we do not want to sell anything. We're giving away everything. We're educating people on that you should join this thing. Like, you should learn that our market is really, our investment is not that hard. Like, our investment should be available for everyone. Like, that's the goal we try to build. And so building off of that, I think every step is working out perfectly, because we're releasing a token to 100,000 people. And then today we're talking about how museum could reach out to more people in the populous age. Just how museum can reach out to more people. I think this is all connected. Guys, first edition, I think it would be truly beneficial for the everything. Just allow me to have a coffee break. All right, now from the how to expand the museum population, now let's talk about another case study from the conference, which held in Berlin called Art Leaders Week. That's between April 25th to 26th, yeah. And the second one, they talk about the reinvention of an auction house. Well, I think FRESCO can help reinvent an auction house in many ways, because like I write in our white paper from our team, as well as like the whole tone we're giving out is really, we're telling people that we're not here to kill the industry giants, because I come from a financial background and I know that it's impossible. That is just not how the world works. You take a look at the financial industry, even today, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they're still there, like after hundreds of years. Like, big companies evolve, giants evolving. You cannot kill giants. Like, giants they're just gonna develop. So, but we think FRESCO what aim to do is just really asking these giants to share a little bit of power out to a global population. That power is that we can help them, we can help the giants for them to list their artworks, let it be the expensive one, like 20 million plus, or smaller artworks, mostly smaller artworks, like the Picasso ceramics on FRESCO. So when they add a fresh trust to it, that shows it's almost like a potential score. It's a score. It's a score to show auction house's affinity or belief that this artwork may increase more value in the future. That may not be necessary for a veteran collector who be in the artwork for a while, but that is really, really helpful for just a new collector, just a new people who has no knowledge about art. They just want to know, Salisbury Christie, tell me whether I can buy this painting. Well, if there's two paintings, one with 3,000 fresh trust, one with 100, and that 100 fresh trust painting may worth $20,000, like on the market value. Well, that 3,000 fresh trust painting may only worth 2,000. So me, as a new collector, I'll buy the 3,000 fresh trust one, because we're establishing a new type of currency. We're establishing FRESCO as a trust value, a utility trust value that shows people's inclination for artwork. I think if that utilized by auction house, not only your major works, like your 20 million Roscoe's, can be sold at a evening sale. Even your smaller pieces, just like the upcoming Rockefeller Foundation's, the auction, which there are more than thousands of artworks going to be auctioned, ranging price from 50 million plus to all the way to $1,000, the kitchenware by the Rockefeller Foundation, or chair. Well, imagine if you add a fresh trust to those chairs and the kitchenware and the prints and lithographs and the additional works. And imagine what kind of frenzy that will drive to the art market, and how that will attract people to buy art from auction house. Because you have this reference value that's not only a price estimate, because as we all know, price estimate sometimes does not work so well. The auction house purportedly lower the price estimate a lot. So this way, you can have a trust value showing people that I, as an auction house, believe this painting has more value in the future, even though right now the value is low. So I think that's how we solve the problem. And the whole model can be very, very potential. Imagine if that get rolled out, we can attract a ton of people who never bought art before, go to go to Sotheby, go to Christie's website, just try to get fresh edition of our work, or just try to add value to a smaller work they bought from Christie or Sotheby's. And the next thing we're going to talk about is about rising art centers. It said, well-established art hubs are unlikely to lose their status anytime soon. Emerging art scenes in Berlin, Los Angeles, Hong Kong, Brussels are increasingly attracting the big names, attention, and the money. Do the rising art centers have staying power? What does their growing influence mean in terms of shaping and decentralizing our market? Well, guys, if you write this line, there's so many problems about it. That's showing that you guys are still very elitist. Forget about the last line. Last line is call for action. It's just from the first line. What is established art hubs are unlikely to lose their status anytime soon? I mean, what the heck does that even mean? You already brand some art hubs as established, and you already have a notion that they're gonna keep their influence. That's centralized thinking. Through the process, you also diminish the roles of the new art hubs such as Berlin, LA, Hong Kong, Brussels. You view them as emerging. I mean, what is emerging? You don't use that word, period. You don't use that word when you talk about art. Art should be inclusive. Let be Hong Kong, Berlin, or even whatever, Greenfield, Massachusetts. If art is flourishing there, it's flourishing. Florence, you can call that an old school art hub. But I don't think at today's global scene, Florence local museum does not want to attract more people globally. So to solve this, rising art center is a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. It's already what we talked about before about the auction house. It's those established, or whatever you say, the established old school art centers like New York, like the major art centers, they're sharing a bit of power, a little bit of starlight to Hong Kong, to Berlin, because that's how art flourished globally. And now you're only talking about Hong Kong, Berlin. Those are already very established places. What about Ukraine? What about all the places around the world where people love art but could not buy art or understand art? Do you care about those population? They have their assets that can invest in art. Do you care about that? So that's the thing. To decentralize the art market, we have to abandon the art-centered thinking. There's no such thing as art-centered. I think the art should be viewed as a whole, where the art should be flourishing everywhere. It should be individual. Each individual care about art, and then each community, and then above to the whole earth. That's the key thing, guys. So to expand art, you have to do it in a way that allows art to flourish not only at city scale, but on a whole network scale. It should be for everyone. Art from history has always been for everyone. To do that, you need blockchain, you need internet, and you need a way for people. Right now, internet, there are a lot of great companies like RC, Artnet, they're doing a great job to helping people, show people that the database of artwork, but because the interests are misaligned. Like Artnet, RC, they're centralized companies. Well, a gallery or auctions may not necessarily trust the data with RC or Artnet because they're still around the price-sensitive data, and the ROI from those platforms are very not sure. So, but with on blockchain, we're decentralizing a whole database. Literally, you as an auction house, you as a gallery, you as a collector, you control your own data. You control what data you share. You control which artwork you want to put on FRESCO network. It's about connection. It's about connecting the world. And that way, the decentralized channel, we can connect people to let people know that they can participate in the artwork, and to let gallery and auction house know at ease that they do not need to sign any contract. It's almost like opening up a Bitcoin wallet address. It's as simple as that to open a FRESCO account, upload their artwork. And imagine that kind of connectivity to bring the shareness and to bring people to more exposure to art. So that's what I think the view you guys should have. It's really about think about art not in a center way, but think of art in truly decentralized way, to turn art into an experience for more people. Not simply ask them to walk around, but ask them to engage in it. Ask them to know why that thing got sold by so much, and kind of be a part of it. That's a solution one can bring that make everyone happy. So imagine our artwork that costs 50 million, that has first edition, gets released at 1,000 token each for 100 edition. And that's compared with the 30 million, maybe a very, very small chunk, may worth nothing. But that can drive enough attention to the artwork on blockchain, to drive enough attention to the artwork in the physical real world. So this is a power that can benefit everyone. I really like this topic. They talk about Asia as the next market frontier. You know, this is the way they're gonna talk about Asia as a new market in the future. Well, I think just the rolling tide that can never stop. Like no matter what happens outside politically, I think people gradually, with the whole internet, people from China and from the Western world gonna gradually recognize the power of like collector from China, from Korea, from Japan, from Asia, and even from Africa, just from all the used to be developing nations, where the purchasing power got so huge, and then the next investment vehicle, it's just gonna necessarily shift to art. But here's the thing, a lot of people in this developing country, they do not know art as an investment tool, because they don't have access to the gallery. And you guys mentioned in the conference how untransparent, how intimidating the appearance to the gallery is. I'll give you an example. My friend go to an established gallery in New York. Even though he's a major buyer from China, he buys a lot of just famous painted work from the Chinese gallery. But when he go to this mega gallery in New York, the gallery associate treat him like he worth nothing. He was wearing a North Face jacket, and he's being a Chinese, and he's quite old. He's one of my uncle, and people just view him not as a potential collector, not treating him seriously. I mean, this is the type of intimidation the gallery enforce upon people. Gallery view people by how they look, and then they depend on collector. Well, you don't do that in our world. You don't do that to anyone. Everyone should be equal. And to expand that artwork, Asia is such a huge untapped market. And you could see from this year how the Art Basel is going to Asia, and how Jeff Koons, how the de Koonings are at Asia, and how this year's, I don't know, even Armory or Basel in Switzerland or in Miami gonna hit that scale again, because Hong Kong gonna be really, really the next, I think, really gonna be the next scene that's gonna happen globally, where it's sort of like this channel for the mainland China to bridge with the Western world. Hong Kong is a part of mainland China, and Hong Kong is the mainland China's the trade hub, as we call it. So if art gradually opening Hong Kong, imagine the potential purchasing power from mainland China if everything totally opens up. I mean, that's just huge opportunities. And I think that's where FRESCO comes into play, to let those purchasing power who do not necessarily have the capability to own a physical artwork, just because all the logistic issues, they can own the fresh edition. They can load a part of the physical artwork on blockchain. And that's where it's gonna be solving the art population. We're not focusing on educating the art population about blockchain, because we know it's very hard to educate, just older people about blockchain. I'm very honest, because some of my friends I met in our world, they don't even know how to do anything beyond sending emails. How to educate those people about blockchain? Like, it's very hard. What we're doing that, we're educating the world about art. We're educating the global population about art. And that can create a more profound impact. Like, once we reach out the art population, imagine each of this huge art population invests a little bit in art, and how much they're gonna topple the old system, create a new system where the old players gonna still be here, and create a market that's dimensionally way much larger than what we have right now. We're using blockchain as a medium to solve the problem, to help out artists globally, let it be new, let it be old, to really help out collectors globally, to help them have access to art. We can make anyone art collector here, guys. It's huge. And I forgot to mention first edition, that because we mentioned that when people have a unique work, when they upload to FRESCO, they need to upload HD image as well as video. Well, for the first edition, we are doing that. We're allowing people to 3D print the photos out. Like they can print out the photos in HD version and then hand that photo with their first edition's QR code in their house. I mean, that's gonna be quite a bragging rights experience for people who never had access to art. Well, if they stay up whole night to wait for Met Museum's first edition release, they can tell their friends, hey, I got this first edition from Andy Warhol, it's in my house. It's one of the 100, it's a part of the Andy Warhol from Met Museum. Well, that doesn't hurt anybody. The Andy Warhol is gonna still be in the Met Museum. But this guy, he never liked art before. Now he knows more about Andy Warhol than he ever, you know. So definitely Asia, big play. Asia, Africa, all the developing nations. I think the art world is gonna have its boom in the next 5 years. It's unstoppable. And we're just here helping that boom. We're here to helping that boom to reach a significant exponential level. And next question, we're going to talk about managing as a mega dealer. How to grow and still tend to your artists. Well, we can talk about that later. I need a bathroom break. Alright guys, welcome back. The next topic we're going to start talking about is managing as a mega dealer. How to grow and still tend to your artists. Well, I by no means own a mega dealer, but I had dealing with a couple. So I think I can talk a bit about how to grow and tend to artists, because that's what essentially FRESCO's mission is. We want to let more artists globally to have a chance in the market to be able to promote themselves. So far how the major gallery works is that each year they can only focus on a limited amount of artists, let it be usually less than 10, and focus on promoting them, helping them get exhibition in the major museums, and helping them schedule major art fairs. But there's gonna be a lot of artists, like especially young artists, they're gonna be left, just left without a means of promotion, because the gallery is always will be a necessary part of the system. But it just this human-centric focus just cannot allow gallery to accommodate too many artists at once, even though some have raw talent. I think that's a thing we can change with FRESCO, so that gallery can actively promote more artists on blockchain, as well as allowing other people, such as art investor, such as people who never invest in art, such as organization, to do their own promotion of an artist. For example, a local, like a Chinese art foundation or a Iceland art foundation can focus on promoting artists from their own country by just allocating enough fresh tokens to the artwork to increase the fresh value of the artwork, and release fresh edition to create create an audience for the artist, which in turn cultivates the supporters for this artist. And with enough supporters will come enough debate. With enough debate, the artists become a trendsetter, and artists raise up the social conversation. And also, I think that's just the growth at a mega side for the artist side. I think for us to better help out the galleries, we can also allow them to, just offer them a way for them to sell their, just almost similar to the auction house. We can give them a way for them to sell the less important work, in a sense that's like not $1 million work. Each galleries have a lot of lithograph, whether you show it publicly or you have it in your stock, because it's just a part of our system where an artist always makes a bunch of the print work as well as the edition work. Well, how can you actually promote your edition work and create a solid stream of that revenue? I think through the FRESCO system, you can release a fresh edition of this limited edition work. For them, only release one fresh edition, with essentially making this blockchain data of that artwork unique, and that I think can help a gallery tremendously globally. not only the mega gallery, even for the smaller gallery, to be able to get more exposure for the artists, to be able to just sell their art to a global people. And that's why it's about art through technology. Well, that's what I've been talking about a lot here. So it's necessary, I think, it's not art through technology. I think it should be, art with technology. Because technology is a mode, it's a way of communication, it's a tool that can be used. While art itself, essentially, is an idea. It's an idea that something should be shared with the world. Something should be appreciated by people globally. That can give people aesthetics. That can make people think. That can call people out for action. And I think that can be proliferated to a wider scale with technology. So that's what FRESCO tried to do with blockchain, like with art on blockchain, with a way for more people to have access to art. And that's why what supported just the whole idea of why we released our whole ICO token away. We want people to have our token, to be able to use it as a utility on the platform in the future. And next one, virtual reality as an art form. As virtual reality makes deeper inroads in the film and gaming industry, the art world is also exploring its embracing technology. How can galleries, collectors, and cultural institutions access the emerging opportunities and challenges? And what is market potential for VR? Well, I think what VR does is essentially the same to what FRESCO does. Because we think, why do we need VR in the first place? VR helps people who cannot physically be at one place to experience it as if they are there. And we at FRESCO allow people to own an artwork without actually owning a physical artwork. And I think that draws a lot of similarity. Both VR and FRESCO, we're aiming for the same thing. That's to expand the art population. And to mention VR, I think I have quite a say with it because our chief advisor, Mr. Selvin Levy, he owns the DSL collection, which is the largest art collection in the world. And he himself, the largest collection in the world about Chinese contemporary arts, But still, that's a major feat. That's a very huge accomplishment. And he owns one of the world's first VR museums. And if you had a chance to view his VR museum, I highly suggest you do so, the DSL Museum. You will realize the potential of how technology can disrupt, and even not only disrupt, I don't like the word disrupt, I like the word innovate. It helps make it better. You can see how the VR can make people to be at the art museum without actually being there. And for us, it's just hit right on the nail. We allow people to go even further. You do not only need to be at the museum, you don't even need to be at a museum, but to own a part of the museum artwork on blockchain. I mean, that's a game changer. This is one-line game changer. Own a museum's artwork without actually being in the museum, with being at your home, and be able to trade that with people from anywhere in the world. That's the power of connectivity, guys. And next one, the changing dynamics of auction houses and dealers. No boundaries. As the wall between auction house and dealer continue to crumble, harder to adapting to a more collaborative relationship. I mean, I think just like a lot of other industries, the wall between each profession is getting more and more, it's getting thinner. And it's almost a designer may be a good developer. And a taxi driver may do a little bit Uber delivery, a Postmate delivery on the side. The same thing in any industry. I think it's all connected. A gallery, an auction dealer, a gallery, an auction house, a dealer, their role essentially is to facilitate the transaction, just in different mode, in different ways. Where as the internet evolves more and more, the transaction method is going to come down to between emailing each other back and forth and use internet as a tool. In the future with blockchain, what we did is we do not only mingle the dynamic between auction house and dealers, we essentially mingle everyone on the art industry purely as a wallet address. Let it be you're a collector, or you're an auction house, or you're a museum, or you're a new investor. Your FRESCO account is all the same. Just like a blockchain account, just like an ETH wallet address. It's all the same account. It's just the content you hold in your account differs. A new collector may have fewer work than a major museum, of course. And the art dealer may have a higher volume of transaction than a mid-sized gallery from just a smaller region. And same thing, a larger auction house may have a more transaction, the artwork in and out, like compared with a smaller size transaction auction house. So I think in the future, the dynamics, the relationship between each profession gonna really evaporate or disseminate, that everyone becomes universal. Because that's the whole idea of the evolution of life, that we have unique individuality, but in all, we're living organisms. I think once we get down to that will efficientize the system, because essentially everyone can be a part of everybody. And that's why the future of art museums. Institutions continue to struggle with how to pursue growth and technical change, even as they also preserve their core artistic values, giving increasing competition for visitor attention and patron donations. How can museums ensure they remain relevant and vital? Well, guys, it's very easy. You're just gonna switch up the mindset. It's about reaching out to a broader population, other than only the art-loving people that's currently right now who's art-loving. Why don't we educate more people to let them love art? And you gotta think about the educational process. Do you just tell people to love art and they love it? No. We love something because we have a stake in it. We love something because we can hold a part of it. That's always human nature. We like to possess. We like to own a part of things. That's a collector fetish. And I think if we use that and expand to a global sense, if we tell people that they can potentially own a part of Picasso, a part of Basquiat on blockchain, at very, very relatively small price, imagine the profound meaning, the profound market that can bring. So more people are going to be interested in, wow, which museums still have a Picasso available that's not listed on FRESCO. I'm going to email that museum. I tell them about FRESCO. I ask the museum, if you do not know how to upload artwork to blockchain, I will teach you. But you guys going to release the first edition. Because museums, you guys send artists for the people, right? Well, right now, people want to engage with artwork. People want to own, actually just like the people who owns the major artwork. People want to own a part of the artwork on blockchain. Do you give them access? Do you be for the people? If you say decentralization, do you want people to be a part of this decentralization? It's all your choice. I think we provide this very perfect engagement model. And we actually are very, very fortunate to have people in talk with us from museum side about bringing their whole collection online. On blockchain, exactly. And so in the future, I think we want to turn museum into cool stores. That store does not sell anything of merchandise, but rather that store is selling an idea that art should be passed on by more people. Selling art as a blockchain data online, as a blockchain data, a part of blockchain data without ruining the physical cultural heritage. Imagine the impact of that, because you're passing on not simply a data. Essentially, you're passing on the idea that people should value art in a way that's more intimate. All right, and that's why it's about building an art powerhouse. We'll come back very shortly. All right, guys. Next we talk about Next we talk about building an art powerhouse. But before we talk about that, I want to mention how FRESCO can help artists. Quite very, very, just obvious and living example. So, as you can see, I have 3 paintings with me. These are the Jack Wheaton's painting. The series. Jack Wheaton is an amazing artist from New York, and he's a very talented, and just unfortunately he passed away last month. And the saddest thing is that during Jack Wheaton's lifetime, his paintings were at a relatively high price, but after he died, the painting just suddenly increase value so much. Each painting, just this kind of painting just increased twice and 3 times in value within a week. And that's a good thing for the guy who owns a painting, but that's not only a sad thing for artists, but also the sad thing for the whole market, I believe. Because while there's so many living artists produce great work, why do their value of work only increases tremendously when they dies? I mean, yes, there is a scarcity issue, but can we help actively make an artist's work increase value exponentially when they're alive? Well, it's about creating good story. It's about making this artist a part of the social movement. It's about putting the work of Maria Ivramovic, the performing artist, her words. Art is about finding a concept. Art is about the concept behind it. If you bake bread in a bread shop, you're a baker. But if you bake bread in a gallery, you're an artist. That's just the way how it is. So I think really what we want to do is that make more people realize that as you should really think about not simply brand yourself as an artist, but think about how to create story, how to create an identity that support yourself as an artist, what make you unique. And here at FRESCO, we're helping you to make your unique story, adding on a layer of the capitalism. Because there's something, even at a top art conference, they don't shy away from. They directly talk about how money can influence the market, because that's just the way how it is. To make a mega artist, to make a world-renowned artist, you need a lot of people, a lot of patrons, a lot of collectors who invest money in this artist, who hold this artist's work, and who together make the price at auction house higher. So I think, but we do not. Why does Jack Whitney's work have to increase value when he unfortunately passed away? Why has his work double, triple value in 2 to 3 years when he's alive? This just saddens me. I think this should be that. I hope with FRESCO we can solve that. We can help more artists to make a good living, to make a living while benefiting each one in the art industry or each new upcoming art collectors, so everyone can enjoy the artist's work of fruition while keeping everyone happy. And now that's the Jack Wheaton. I'm gonna keep it right here. Value in the art world. Well, damn, I like this one. It's an expert insight talking about how to value the artwork. Well, I had a lot to say about this, but most of it is towards people who are not familiar with art. I give you a brief explanation. So if you go to a gallery is a place where you sell art, where the arts are sold. Think of gallery as essentially just a selling place for the artworks. And if you go to art fair is almost like a exhibition. It's a fair. It's a place where gallery opens up booths and pick 1 or 2 artists they want to promote and then sell the artwork at a convention. So you go to any gallery or fair, unlike you go to a car fair or real estate fair where the price are listed very obviously. You go to an art fair or gallery, you don't find any price tag, at least near the painting. Why? Because let me tell you, art is based upon negotiation. The art price is largely undetermined because a gallery may sell a painting to you at an 80% rate or may sell to you at a rate even higher than original price, because the quote is the negotiating power. It's almost like the real estate industry. A lot of the brokerage, a lot of the bargaining going on. So that's a good thing, because that's how you build up your connection in the art world. But we believe that we want to value art not simply in the market value sense, because you just value art simply by money. That's not only, for some artists they don't like that, and also it's not a good way because it kills our market. It just kills transaction in art. So what we propose to do, we use trust value. Trust as a value, and this trust value, it can be a person's inclination towards art, like we talked about before. I particularly really like Warhol's screen print, so I may value it more than actually a Picasso original. Or it can be an academy view of art. As a museum or non-profit foundation, it wants to show that this artist from their own nation is very important. So they want to show its importance in a way that's very obvious as an index value. And right now, even though we have index value in the art market, but those index values are what you call centralized. They give a point if the artist gets shown from this place, and they give a point if artists were covered on this magazine or media or get a show. So, but that's a centralized score. What we want to do is build a decentralized score where anyone can contribute. If this artist's work just get on FRESCO blockchain, anyone from the world can choose to show their affinity, to show their view of importance to this artwork. And that's why what I believe and what our team all believes is the true value of art, because the value of art differs. And the value of art, my future son's artwork, I may value more than Picasso, and that's just how human emotion is. And that I believe it's the value of art should be valued. It should have a clear, obvious value index, but not solely reflects upon market value. And through that, a lot of things can be happen. You know, museum galleries will be willing to list a tag with fresh trust because it does not affect market price. It's a show of trust value. It's really a subjective value. It's a value from the blockchain arts owner himself, or from anyone's own subjectivity on the blockchain, on the network. So utilizing the network effect to together show this artwork importance, because importance is what we want to show. And next one is about what's next for small and mid-sized galleries. Given expensive prime real estate, costly airfares, and declining gallery traffic, some small and mid-sized galleries have been forced to get more creative or call it a day. Several are moving to less travel locations. Others are merging, and some are going out of business. What is the future of the bricks and mortar gallery, and how can dealers with rent to pay stay relevant? Well, dealers with rent to pay, I like the idea. I like the quote for it. But, well, what's next for small and mid-sized galleries? Well, if I talk with that population, guys, the future is truly online. The future is truly on blockchain. The future is about expanding from your brick and mortar thinking, but think about how to build an online exposure so that you can light up people from anywhere in the world to get a hands of your gallery's artwork. I tell it artwork because it's necessarily not only physical art. It can be a part of the artwork's blockchain data. I mean, think about the profound impact of that. As a gallery from New York, a small-sized gallery in Chinatown, you do not need to worry about how to ship to South Africa for a painting, but rather you can sell that painting's fresh edition on blockchain, which essentially you as a gallery upload that painting to FRESCO platform, take HD photos, and then with HD videos, and then create this blockchain ID to that artwork that directly link to your blockchain account. And then you add enough token, and for example, how many tokens you like to facilitate a better transaction of your artwork, you add enough token, and then become fresh trust, and then you release fresh edition of that artwork. Let it be 5 edition or 1 edition, and you sell to that guy in South Africa, or sell to another guy in China. So they do not need to actively wait for 30 days to get their artwork to pass a custom. They can get a thing that essentially is a part of their artwork, which is the artwork itself, because it released from you as a gallery, and it's a creation of the artist. And so they can get that blockchain data and view it as artwork. And even better, they can print it out and then hand it as a house with a unique QR code, say it's a 1-of-1 edition. And 1-of-1, which means it's unique. So really, you can see a lot of your artists says, okay, what if there are so many duplicates of that painting on blockchain? Well, on FRESCO platform. Well, just like today's internet, there's always going to be garbage data. You take a look at today's Facebook and Twitter, they're going to be phishing accounts and fraudulent accounts. But as a decentralized platform, we do not worry about that. We believe in people's integrity. So as a mid-size or any gallery, any collector, if you want to use FRESCO, if you want to make an impact, you're going to use it responsibly. Your blockchain address is essentially your trust credit. If a major collector, major galleries, blockchain address is going to be their word of mouth. So people go to their FRESCO blockchain address to view this gallery or this collector transaction record. So anything the gallery or collector or museum decide to put up there has to be directly reflect upon this collector or any art participant, his real life social trust. And so that way, there's gonna be really the cost if you decide to do fraud on the platform. Do you want to do business in the art world? Or do you want to still stay art world as relevant? Then you use a system with integrity. And I think we use a system to self-govern itself because that's the key of decentralization. In a decentralized world, you let anyone else, anybody, to be a monitor for everyone. So everybody monitor each other's behavior. So for small and mid-sized gallery, this way, with FRESCO Edition, you can reach out to a global audience just throughout border, guys. This is the key because there are only so many mega collectors. If we solely focus on them, then there's only gonna be 5 or 6 galleries that are gonna make a living. So mid and small size gallery, it's about not solely focus on the people in your town or people in your area. It's about have a global vision. It's about viewing the blockchain data as wealth, and switching people's idea and make that into artwork. Because artwork is the new medium that's being created. Marcel Duchamp labeled ready-made as art, and that's a huge movement. And then they label digital art as art. They're constantly challenging art's medium, and we're challenging our medium. We think blockchain data as art, as long as from people who made art. And that's the key difference. And that will be a key move for the small and mid-sized gallery in the future. And the next one, art in a world of disruption. Well, this is I just think, guys, don't view it this way. Don't view it as a disruption. Disruption means reshuffling the game. Means in a disruption, it's almost like a revolution. People dies. Well, here what we're proposing at FRESCO, we don't want people to die, but rather we want people to live together, can be able to survive together to keep the system functioning. So we just efficientize the system. Rather than focusing on how to fear the outsider coming in, the art world should welcome outsider to coming in. That's like the art fair right now, inviting a lot of galleries from the developing country to go to a major art fair, or even museums are doing major art shows, focusing on artists from the developing country. And I think the same thing really ideologically that has to shift. It's really about art in a world of innovation, art in a world of openness. Art as a community should embrace its openness because the old system has been happening for hundreds of years. Ever since Renaissance, it's the Medici family, it's the dealers that control the pricing power, and it still happens today, even today. But I don't mean control the price power is a bad thing, because you need a decision maker, you need a price maker. But what I'm saying is that at least you need to let people who have enough asset to have a say in the game, rather than control that in such a tight, narrow channel where outsiders, they do not have a say in the game, even though they have enough asset to be in the game. And that way, we need to do not solely focus on a collector with that enough asset. How about people who love art but do not have enough asset? How can we create an entire asset class for them, for people to appreciate art? How can we essentially create a more engagement model for them? So that's what art should be, more inclusive. Art should be open to more people. Art should not fear disruption, but art should embrace innovation. And that's why I think why the world's leaders, the world's art leaders are coming together in Berlin to talk about this whole thing. It's really about the open connection, the open consumerism that can bring the society together. Because that's the driving force of the society. Because really, it's about open dialogue. We're opening a dialogue globally to let people communicate. Rather than focusing on a small pile of people and bring them on technology, why don't we bring more people globally in on this conversation about art? It's about creating cool content. It's about getting people love art, getting them love the idea that they can own Picasso Basquiat on blockchain with a fraction of the cost, with less than a fraction of the cost for them to do so. and then realize that a 6-year-old can be able to own a Picasso on blockchain if it stays up all night waiting for a museum release the fresh edition. That's the power of a dream and the power of innovation. And that's the thing we strive to embrace. We abandoned ICO because we know regulation does not like it. We know we want to protect retail investors. Because we all are part of retail investors compared with the huge conglomerate who are investing hundreds of millions buying art. Again, we may be small fish, but we think together with the new artists, with all the art students who graduate from art school and try to make a living artists, try to pursue their dream, with all the small to mid-sized galleries who want to promote our artwork, who want to promote their awesome artists. We think together, we want to create a solution. We want to work together to build our world that's more open to everyone. So art is not an award of disruption, guys. Art is an award of tremendous opportunity. Blockchain is only a tool. Blockchain does not cure cancer. FRESCO is fortunate because we think blockchain as a tool. We think blockchain as a medium that can help us open up can facilitate a larger discussion about art. That art should not be elite. Art should be open for everyone. It's not simply open for someone come into the art museum to take a photo. It should be allow anybody to have a chance to own a piece of art. And we will continue to strive to achieve that goal by building up a global community. And together, let's do this whole thing. And I thank you very much for you guys organizing this meeting. I really like the conversation. I think through this, if you guys go to our website and you guys go to our Medium, we have a lot of words that try to speak to you guys. But before we did it in a way that's very formal. But I think it's me and my team who made the decision that it should be more unfiltered. It should be more raw emotion to show who we are and to show we're very passionate about this thing. We view it as a innovation from the masses.